Hi guys, it's Jordan from P&P Campers. Just going to do a handover video on this AutoTrail Apache. It's on the 130 horsepower multi-jet, and that is the Fiat Ducato chassis. And we can see under the bonnet just here, we've got your chassis plates. So this one here on the left is the one that you actually want to look at. So this one over here is the original Fiat cab before it was converted into a motorhome. So this one here is the one you need to look at. That's your 3.5 ton limit. So you've got up, you can drive this on any normal car license. 691 over there is your paint code, and that is the blue color on the cab and throughout the back of the vehicle. So if you need any touch-up paints or anything like that, it's Fiat 691. Air conditioning information just here telling you what gas and how much of it. And the rest of it is all your sort of consumable bits. So you've got your washer fluid up on the top left hand side, power steering fluid, engine coolant, brake fluid attached to the servo just behind it. Your engine oil goes in through this cap just here, and your engine oil dipstick is the red topped one here at the front. Over on the right, we've got your air filter inside this box over here. And because the engine battery sits under the floor in the cab, just in front of the passenger seat, they do give you a positive terminal underneath this little cover. So you've got a positive terminal for the engine battery here, and your earthing point just here at the front by this little sticker. So it says there, only for jump start. And so if you wanted to jump start the van from under the bonnet, you can do it from those 2 points there. So inside the passenger door, we've got your bonnet release handle just here. Your jack and wheel brace kit just underneath the passenger seat here as well. Both of these front seats are swiveling seats, and you've basically just got these little handles here on each seat to allow you to swivel the seats all the way around. Just behind the door here, we've got your diesel filling point. So you will need the ignition key to get that to open up. So, first locker we get to on the near side here is your gas locker. So you've got space in here for two 13 kilo propane bottles. If you wanted two 13s, they just about fit in these lockers. Otherwise, you can just have two 6 kilos, which is the more sort of normal way of doing it, really. You've got a new pigtail hose on here, so it's a 2024 hose. So you've got till 29 to replace that pigtail, because you get 5 years on those. To turn the bottle on, we're going to go anti-clockwise around to the left, all the way up until you can't turn it anymore. And that means that it's all the way on. When you come to switch this off, you can just turn all the way around clockwise down, and that'll turn the bottle off. But the reason that I say to turn it all the way on till you can't go any further is because when you then come to the bottle to turn it off, you can't really go wrong. You can't go the wrong way. So you can only go the right way, which is clockwise all the way down to switch the bottle off. I'm going to leave that on for a minute just because we've got a few bits going in the inside of the van. So just inside the habitation door, we've got the bin, the original factory AutoTrail umbrella there, just a nice little feature. This little black button, the circular black button here just inside the door, is going to be your electric step. So you just press it once to put it in, press it once again to push it out. Right, so you've got the full size wind out awning on here. So inset into the sort of body of the van, which I always quite like about these AutoTrails. Doesn't stick out quite so much. And you've got your awning light just there as well, which I'll show you how to use inside. It's more than likely, actually, thinking about it, it's probably one of these switches. Oh no, right, ignore me. I'll show you on the inside how we get that light on there. Right, so the next locker we get to is your toilet cassette locker. This is a Thetford toilet cassette. Really, really simple to use. You've got this one here is the cassette with the handle on it, so you can sort of walk it along rather than having to carry it. It's quite heavy. So to release the actual cassette and take it out to empty it, we lift up on the little orange tab just here. So lift this up and then pull the actual thing towards you. Once you've got it to here, you'll then be able to take it all the way out because that's completely released. So all you need to know from there really is that you empty it out from here. So you take this cap off and actually drain it out from this point just here. And when you're physically draining it out, you should hold down this little circular orange button at the back. So when you're draining, hold the button at the back and you drain it from here. When you finish draining it out, you put about a cap's worth of blue fluid back inside this cassette, give it a little swoosh around, and then push it all the way back in, making sure that this little orange bit sits over that little lip. Okay, if you put it back in and it's not quite sitting over the lip there, the seal between the toilet and the cassette won't be made up completely, and you'll get leaking coming through onto the cassette itself. So you need to make sure it's all the way pushed in and make sure that that little orange bit is over the lip. Next door to that, we've got your external shower point. So if you, well, in the offside locker, I've noticed that there is a shower point in here, but this is basically where you plug in your shower point, you get hot and cold water outside. Not much else to explain about that really, it's nice and simple. The garage at the back just here, you've got a huge, great big garage. Biggest plus side to this particular garage is that you've got the access to the pump here. So if you did ever need to get access to the pump to replace it, or you know, check on it at least, it's super easy to get to it, which is something you really don't often get. Also in this locker, in this garage, I'll just zoom in a little bit, you can just about see the little yellow tab that's facing upright at the moment. So that is your boiler drain off point. Now you can get to that from these two lockers on the inside of the van, which is quite nice. But basically, if you ever wanted to drain the water out from your boiler, you need to lift the tab up like it is right now. So where it is now is in its open position, so absolutely every little bit of the boiler's water has drained out onto the floor. And the reason that we did that is because it's getting really cold at the moment, so we thought we'd winterize it for you. So when you come to use the van for the first time, and if you want to, you know, use the hot water, you first of all need to make sure that you put that drain tap down flat, so it's laying down, and then you can go ahead and do what I'll explain how to do it from the inside of the van when we get in there. But basically you need to make sure that that drain valve is laying down flat rather than upright like it is now. For the time being, if you're not going to use the van, it's really important to leave that drain open so that the water doesn't fill up inside the boiler and then freeze. So that's the idea behind that. So at the back of the van, the AutoTrails have always been really good at this kind of locker just here. So this is a really clever little locker, which is your spare wheel. So to get to it, you've literally got a circular key on here that goes into that, twist it, and that takes this little cap off, and you'll then have a big screw. So you can literally undo it by hand, and then you'll be able to take out your spare wheel. So it is so easy to get to that, and a lot easier than sort of laying down underneath the van, trying to release it and all that kind of stuff. So that's a nice thing that they do on the AutoTrails. You have also got the tow bar with the electrics just there as well, and reversing camera up here above the AutoTrail sign as well. So on the off side of the van, not quite as many things to run you through. This is just obviously another access to the garage here. All of your carpets are in here as well, by the way. So if you wanted to fit the carpets back down, they're the original factory fitted AutoTrail carpets, and you can go ahead and use those if you want to. I've just realised I thought that was wrong. Right, so the reason I sort of stuttered when I said about the shower point on this near side is because they don't normally put shower points on this side. So you're going to have to ignore what I said about the shower point here. The only reason I said shower point is because it's got it written on there. But this is actually your external gas point. So normally you would have the gas point on this side because you would have your barbecue underneath the awning here. So this is your external gas point, okay? So as long as your gas is switched on in the locker, in the cupboard up there, you can have gas coming through this point just here. You need a bullfinch fitting to go into that. You literally push it in and twist it, and that'll allow you to use the gas from this point here. So sorry about that, you'll have to ignore me on that one. But that is your external gas point on the near side just here, okay? That's why I was kind of a little bit hesitant to say it, because I knew it said shower point on it, but I thought, well, they don't normally do that. But anyway. Right, so this little cover just here that you can see that says Truma on it, this is your boiler vent. So at the moment, I've got the boiler on, but I've got the heating on only. I don't have the hot water on at all. And the reason that I haven't got the hot water on is because I know that the boiler drain is open, and so I can't actually use the hot water anyway because I know there's no water inside the boiler. So I've got the heating on, and I know that I've got the heating on and it's definitely working because one, I can feel hot air coming out through the bottom of this, and two, because it's quite cold outside, it's literally forming condensation from the bottom of it. So I can see and hear and feel that it's definitely working. So this is your kind of way of double checking that it's definitely working from there. Down below that, we've got your water drains. So you've got your fresh water drains just here. So when you want to drain out the fresh tank, sorry, you literally just twist it open, and that will drain all of your fresh water out down there onto the floor. These two just here are both to do with your fridge. So if you had the fridge lit up on gas, again, you should feel a little bit of warm air coming out through this top right-hand side, which I can right now. And that'll basically just be telling you that it's definitely working as well. Just like this one here, you can double check by putting your hand just there and you'll feel warm air. So this one here is your actual external shower point. Different because you've got these hot and cold symbols on here. Still says shower point on here, but that is where your external hot and cold water is. So you've got the point in here, which is the one that I was saying about on the other side. So this side essentially just plugs straight in, and then you twist it and press go. Okay, it's as easy as that. I haven't got the pump on at the moment, so it won't work, but easy as that for your external hot and cold water. This is just a locker, just storage basically, nothing particularly interesting there. And we've then got your fresh water filling point. So if you wanted to fill up the fresh tank, you pull this little flap down and then unlock this little cap, twist it open and take it out, and then you literally fill up your fresh tank from there. Right, this max view thing down here, you don't need to worry about that because that's just an external aerial socket if you had an external aerial to use. Not many people do that nowadays, but they just give you the option now. So that's what that is. We've then got your electric hookup point just here. So if you do have access to a hookup cable, then it is really handy to have that plugged in because it means that you don't have to worry about any battery voltages, and it means that you've got access to any of your mains powered appliances. And then the last bit on the offside here is your wastewater drain off point. So if you wanted to drain out your wastewater onto the floor, you've got a handle on the left hand side of that you literally just twist open to allow the water to drain out from it. Right, so that's the outside that sort of covered. What I normally do now is I'll just show you through the cab, and then I'll spin around and show you through to the back end of the van. So right now you can see that I've got this entertainment system folded down, so that I can show you what it sort of does in the back end of the van, or not even really show you what it does, but show you how to turn it on. So obviously when you're driving along, that's going to be a real pain, so you don't want to have that down when you're driving, so you can literally just push that up and it will lock itself up like that. So in the cab you've got a really high spec, so there's not a huge amount in here that I can see that you can't, you know, I don't think there's much else that you could have really, but anyway, so you've got the full fitted cab blinds. So you've got these blinds here that come across, they'll come all the way over and meet over here on the left. So you've got that on this near side, you've got the same on the passenger door, and you've got the same on the windscreen as well. So you've got the same, they have to pull across to the middle and meet together, and these little magnetic strips here will sort of clasp them together. So that is really easy. Just make sure that you pull this back over and push it all back in nicely. There you go. So that is your cab blinds, really easy to use. Just pull the seat back a little bit. So you've obviously got your normal kind of indicators and flash on here. Your lights turn on from here as well, from that little stalk there. Washers and wipers over on the right hand side. You've also got your headlight aim over here on the right hand side as well. On the actual driver's door, you've got you can lock and unlock the cab from here. You've got your electric windows, and then if I just zoom in a little bit, you've got your electric adjusting mirrors. So you can literally select which mirror you want to move, like that, and then quite literally just move this around like a little joystick, and it will move the mirror around wherever you tell it to. So we've then got the cruise control stalk just here underneath the indicator and lights stalk. So you've got the cruise control from there. You've got a sort of pause and resume button here on the left hand side. You've got the 6-speed manual gearbox as opposed to the 5-speed, which is really quite nice to have. Reverse, you pull on the back just here, over and up to the top left hand side will select reverse for you. You've then got this double din sized head unit. I don't really go through the head units because that's just an aftermarket thing, and it's kind of quite self-explanatory normally. Underneath that, we've got your heater controls. So you've got the actual where the fan pumps the air to, the fan temperature, fan speed, and whether you want it to be recirculating or drawing air in from outside. You've also got the air conditioning option here as well. So you've got this little button here in the middle, which will turn on the air conditioning. You can also unlock the cab from inside here as well, so you don't have to get over to the driver's door. Hazard warning lights from there, and your fog lamp there as well. So if I spin around now, I'll show you what we've got in the back end. So what I'm going to do is going to shut this door. So the layout in here is really popular. So you've got these kind of side settees that do pull together to make a nice big double bed. Well, I say a big double bed, it's not the biggest double bed in the world because you've got this kind of cut off here, but it's just so easy and quick to pull this bed together. It's kind of like a 1/2 berth. In the middle of the van, you've got this kind of really nice big side kitchen. So you can obviously take this off here, and you've got a really nice big draining board there. So you've got loads of space just there. Because it's a British built vehicle, you do also get this option here where you've got the proper range cooker, and the option of the electric ring up here as well. So you can, if you've got the hookup plugged in, you can use this left hand stalk here and heat this little ring up so that you don't even have to use any gas to cook. Above here you've got the microwave, which is another electronic thing, so you need to have the hookup plugged in to use that. And everything else in the van, you've got the option of using gas or electric as well. So you can use the fridge on gas or electric. You can use the hot water and the heating on gas or electric, which I'll run you through now. So the first thing I'm going to explain to you is going to be in this locker here, just behind the driver's seat. So this locker is probably the most important locker in the van. You might look at it and think that it looks a little bit complicated, but it's not by any means complicated at all. So this is your power supply unit. This is a Sargent power supply unit, and it's an EC500. So literally all this does is it takes everything electronic. So from both batteries, your hookup, everything that's got electric going to it comes from here. So if, for example, the only thing you need to know about it really is that if you have a problem with something, so let's just say we come into the van one day, we turn the lights on and we can't get anything at all to light up, can't get any of the lights to work. I would be coming over here to this big sort of diagram here and having a look down here where it says 12-volt protection fuses. And literally all I would be doing is having a look through, see where it says lighting circuit, which is these two just here. And it tells you it should be a red fuse, 10 amp, and its fuses 10 and 11. So we can then look in here, see all of these fuses, have a look at 10 and 11, and just check that they're okay. So it's literally, the reason that they do it and the reason that they give you these units is because, you know, at the end of the day, yes, you can come back to us for any problems whatsoever, no matter how big or small they are. But if you are away on holiday and we're not there, which obviously we won't be, then, you know, you're a little bit stuck. And a lot of the time with the motorhomes, it's normally something pretty simple like a fuse. So if you find that you've got a problem with something, yeah, and you know, and you feel up to it, you can come in here and just have a quick look at the fuse. You can see what fuse it is, and you can see if the fuse is okay. It literally takes seconds, and it might just get you, you know, sort something out for you briefly, just so that you can carry on with your holiday, you know, where you are. So that's the kind of idea behind this little diagram here. It just tells you the basics of it, and how you can sort of quickly check things. Again, any actual bigger issues, you know, if you check the fuse and the fuse is okay, then you can just give us a ring and we'll sort anything out for you. But it's just, I always like to mention, any vans that have got this Sergeant unit in here, mainly AutoTrails and Autosleepers, I always mention all this because it's one of those things that you can just so easily do yourself. It might just get you out of trouble if you are away on holiday. The other things on here are, again, just as simple. These are just your mains trip switches. You have also got a diagram up here telling you what each trip switch does. So again, if we're hooked up on the mains, for example, because that's when the trip switches come into action. If we are hooked up on the mains and we cannot get this electric ring to light up here or start getting hot, I would be coming over here. First of all, making sure that our blue one over here is in the upright position because that's our main RCD. And then I'd be looking over here on the diagram and just seeing which one says electric cooker. So where have we got? Extra sockets, water heater, extra fan. So it's probably going to be 2 there where it says extra sockets. But basically, you know, you can just have a little look in here and make sure they're all in the upright position. If they're not, pop it back up. If it doesn't go back up, then you've got a problem, and give us a ring. Basically, it's easy as that. You will also notice that when you plug the hookup cable in, you'll get a couple of these lights up here come on. So you don't have to do anything with those. You can just leave those as they are. Okay. And that's about it, really. Over on the right of this, you've got entertainment system. So if I turn this little switch here on, the telly comes on. And then you've got a couple of remotes in here to play around with the TV. The TV, to be honest with you, is something that we would have checked as part of the habitation check because it's a factory fitted one. Normally we don't sort of go through and check the tellies, but because it's a factory fitted one, we would. You've got a TV aerial booster up inside this cupboard with a switch to turn it on the top left hand side, and then you'll get your little signal finder light come on. You've then got your actual tilt and turn aerial. So to actually get this to move around, you loosen off this nut just here at the top, and then you push this up and twist it around until you get a decent signal up there. You'll know that you've got a decent signal because it'll just stay solid green. At the moment it's kind of flashing between green and amber, so we've probably not got quite a good signal enough, you know, to get a decent signal at the telly. So you would just adjust that a little bit till it stays solid green. Okay, so next thing I'll run you through is going to be the control panel. So the control panel itself, just up here above the habitation door. So first thing you'll notice when you switch it on, which is just by turning on the power button on the left hand side there, you'll then just see a basic screen come up here in the middle. So it's telling us the time, it's telling us the temperature, and it's just telling us what unit we've got here. Now obviously that time isn't right. I'm not doing the video at 20 to 10 at night, so you can go through and adjust the time just here. Other than that, we're going to carry on through tank heaters. You can turn them on if you want to. External temperature, solar power, battery current, so that's how much power is being drawn from the leisure battery at one time. Wastewater level and your freshwater level. Vehicle battery voltage. Leisure battery voltage is a little bit lower because we haven't got the hookup cable plugged in, and we've got all sorts of things like, you know, all the lights, all the power on at the moment, so that's quite normal. And then you're back to your home screen. So that's just basically pressing up on that little button just there is going to run you through the control panel and just tell you what's going on inside the vehicle at this particular time. So on the left hand side are your actual switches. So you've got your awning light switch just here. That's what that one is there. We've got your water pump from that one. Now, when your fresh tank is completely empty, like ours is now, it will flash at you and beep, telling you that the fresh tank is empty. And the reason that it does that is because if you put your water pump on and there's no water inside, it will not ever turn off. And the reason for that is basically because it needs to get to pressure to turn itself off. So if there's no water there, it can't get the pressure and it won't turn off. So that's why it flashes at you. So as soon as you put some water into the tank, it won't flash at you like that when you put the pump on. And your last switch over here, this one on the top right hand side, is your battery selector. So all the time that your battery selector light is off, like this, it means that the leisure battery is the battery that's being used for the power in the back end of the van. And that is obviously what we want to do. So we don't want to be using the vehicle's battery's voltage to power the lights and power the fan and anything we want to power via the 12 volt for obvious reasons. We don't want to drain out the vehicle battery because we won't be able to start the van up. So the only reason that you would ever use this button here, all right, is if you were hooked up on the mains. If you have a hookup cable plugged into the van and your engine battery is flat, you can turn that button on just there, and the electric hookup will start charging the vehicle battery instead of the leisure battery. So if you wanted to charge the vehicle battery up via the electric hookup, you would turn that button on there. Otherwise, we're going to leave that button off, all right, like it is now, and that means that the leisure battery is the one powering the back end of the van. Okay, so to the right of that, we've got your Truma iNet Ready system. So this is your boiler controller. Okay, so I'm just going to get my hand into a bit of a better position there. So basically, in order to use this, we've got a on button here in the middle, just by pressing on this, and we can then scroll through and hover over the different options that we've got. So we've got heating, which is the one there with the caravan with the temperature symbol. So if I click on that, we can see I've got the temperature above the temperature on the inside of the van right now. So when I press go, the heating will come on. If I put the temperature below the internal temperature, the heating will turn off. Just like a thermostat at home. Okay, so I'm going to leave that off for a minute. The next one over is our hot water. If I click on that, we've got three options: 40, 60, or boost. So that's our three options for hot water. Depends how much of a hurry you're in to get the water hot. Now, as I said, I'm not going to use that at the moment because I know that the boiler is empty, and I know that it's empty because the boiler drain off point in the garage is facing upright. So in order to fill that back up before I can use it again, I'll lay the tab back down again so it's laying down flat, put some water in the fresh tank, and then just draw the water through on the hot side of the tap here until the water starts coming through the tap. As soon as you start getting water coming through the tap here on the hot side of the tap, we can know for a fact that the boiler is definitely full, and then we can go ahead and use the boiler however we want to on the hot water. So the other options we've got heating and hot water, that are the first two options there. We've then got this one here, which is now flashing, which is your energy selector. So the boiler's got two options. You've got gas or mains electric. Now at the moment, as you know, we've not got a hookup plugged in, so I can't use the boiler on the mains. I do have the gas switched on, so I would go to the energy symbol there, click on that, and select gas. The other options are mix 1 and mix 2, which are a mixture of gas and electric, or electric 1 and electric 2. So that's when you're on hookup and you can only use the hookup. So the difference between mix 1 and mix 2 and also electric 1 and electric 2 is basically just the amount of electric that it uses or that it draws from the battery, from the hookup. So if I just briefly explain, I don't want to sort of chew your ear off too much about it because it's not all that interesting. But if you go to a campsite and you plug in on one of their posts with your hookup cable, they will have told you, or you should know from the campsite, how many amps your post is rated to. So if you go to a campsite and you plug into a 10 amp pole, all right, they'll say you've got 10 amps to, on your hookup. You have then got 10 amps that you can use inside the van at any one time. If you go over the 10 amps inside this van, the post that you're plugged into outside will trip. Okay, it won't trip your trip switch in here. It won't trip these ones. Okay, but it will trip the post that you're plugged into. So you need to make sure that you first of all know the amount of amps that you've got to play with on the campsite. So it's worth asking. If they don't tell you, just say, look, just wondering, how many amps have I got on the post? Once you know how many amps you've got to play with, you can then work out how many amps to use on various appliances. So just for example, if we were to use this electric ring over here, I think off the top of my head, these tend to draw about 6 amps, okay, as a maximum. You've also got the option of electric on the fridge. That'll draw 1 amp. But the main thing is this boiler. So if you were to use this on mix 1 or mix 2, you've got a little bit of electricity being drawn. Mix 1 or electric 1 is 4 amps of electric. Mix 2 or electric 2 is 8 amps of electric. So if you think, if you've got this boiler on electric 1 or electric 2 or mix 1 or mix 2, let's just say you're on mix 2 or electric 2, you're drawing from the boiler, you're drawing 8 amps. And if you've got 10 amps to play with on your pole that you're plugged into, you're nearly at maximum power straight away. Okay, so as soon as you try and use that cooker on the electric, it's going to trip the switch outside. Or if you plug a kettle into there, you're going to trip it straight away if you've got something else on. So you do have to be a little bit more cautious. You know, at home, you've got, I mean, you're probably never even going to find out the maximum power that you can use, because it's going to be far, far higher than it will be in a motorhome. Same goes for if you plug the hook up into your van from your household socket at home, you've got 13 amps from those sockets. And if you draw more than 13 amps from it, it's going to trip the switch inside your house. So it's kind of just about working out how many amps have you got on the hookup that you're plugged into. And then once you've done that, you can sort of work it out from there. So the last bit to show you on the boiler is this fan symbol over on the right hand side. When I click on that, it gives us the option of vent. So I can click vent and then select a fan speed. And what that'll do is it'll basically just start pumping cool air around to the van. So that's what it will say if you haven't got the heating on. If I put the heating back on and then go over to the fan symbol, it'll give us the option of eco and high, and that is basically just the fan speed for the heating. Easy as that. So I'm going to turn the heating back off, and a basic way of kind of knowing that the boiler is definitely completely off is just literally look above the black line at the top. If that black line has got nothing above it, it means that the boiler is completely turned off. So if I just show you, if I turn the heating on, we've now got 3 things above the black line, which means that the heating is the boiler is definitely doing something. Turn the heating off, and now the boiler is completely dead. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to carry on now. It's just going to end up being a bit of a long video. So we've got your sink just there. Obviously that's your hot and cold water from there. The 3-burner hob and your electric ring there as well. You have got an ignition for all of those, including the grill and the oven. So that ignition switch does all of those ignitions for everything. All right. So that is your best friend, really, that ignition switch. I pulled the glass for this down now. As I mentioned earlier, the microwave is a mains powered appliance, so you will not get any power to this until your electric hookup is plugged in. Inside your wardrobe here, you've got all of your paperwork that we've got with the vehicle is in this brown folder, and a couple of little bits of information that come with the van from standard. Now inside the fridge, you've got the nice blue lights. This is a nice modern fridge, and it's a Dometic 3-way fridge. Okay, so when I say 3-way fridge, I mean it works on 3 different energies. So we've got mains hookup, gas, and 12 volt when your engine's running. So that's your 3 options. So if you were hooked up on the mains, you would have this one here selected. If you don't have the mains plugged in, but you do have the gas on, you would select gas. And if you've pre-cooled the fridge and you're then driving to wherever you're going to go to, you have to select 12 volt. So if I just briefly explain that, the 12 volt here on the right only works when your engine is running, and all it does is hold the temperature inside the fridge whilst you drive. So you need to make sure that you pre-cool the fridge before you leave and select 12 volt before you start driving off. When you get to where you're going, you take it off of 12 volt and select one of these two here. So like, you know, if you go to a campsite or wherever it is you're going, and then you plug the hookup cable in, you would then select hookup when you get there. If you're going wild camping and you don't have a hookup, you would then get to where you're going and select gas. So you don't have to do anything with these to get them to start working. So if I turn the fridge off, all right, just give it a second to sort of reset. When I turn this on, it should select the most recent energy that I've used. So if I turn it on, it's selected gas straight away, and it's also selected maximum temperature over here. So you can change the temperature just by pressing on that one there, and it will light up for you. It'll do the lighting up for you. So you haven't got to do anything with it to light the gas up. It'll just do it for you. If you want to change it, you literally just double press on whichever one you want to change it to, and it will do so. Now this is going to give us a fault code, okay, and that's because the electric hookup isn't plugged in. So I go back to gas, and that's it. It's really, really simple, nothing to it. And in the back end of the van, we've got a transverse bed. So transverse means you go all the way side to side, which is why you get that really nice big garage in the back. So you get loads of storage underneath this bed. This is actually one of the lowest transverse beds that I've ever seen. And I will say that's a really good thing, because unless you desperately need the biggest garage in the world, when you have those really, really big garages that come up to here, it means that you don't get any headroom in the bed. So you end up hitting your head on the ceiling and all that. But you get so much space here between bed and the ceiling that it's you're never going to do that. So you've got TV bracket and aerial sockets in the back just there. I know the customer has asked us for a TV in there, so that will be going in shortly. Curtain that comes all the way across just here. It's a factory fitted one. And then I think the last thing to show you is going to be in here, which is the bathroom. So the bathroom itself, you've got a switch over here on the left. Turns all your lights on, including a nice LED light inside the shower room. So you've got a separate shower in here, as in it's got a separate unit for the shower, so you're not going to get everything else inside here soaking wet whenever you use it. It's literally just a hot and cold tap for the shower. It's very, very simple. You don't need me to show you that. Same goes for the sink. So normally in the bathrooms, the only thing I actually explain is the toilet, because it's, you know, you might not have used one of these before. So the actual toilet base itself swivels all the way around, as you can see. And then when you want to flush the toilet, you've got this little blue button here on this panel. So you literally press on that. And if you've got some water in your tank, it will start pumping itself around. Now, the other thing I will say is that in order to flush this toilet, you need to make sure that you've got some water in your fresh tank and that the pump is turned on. So it won't do anything at all until your pump is turned on and you've got some water in the tank. To drain whatever's inside here into the cassette, you pull this handle here to the right. That will drain whatever's inside the bowl here into the cassette. And then you push this handle all the way back to the left. If you don't push that handle all the way back to the left, it means that your cassette is completely locked in position and you will not be able to take it out from the outside. So, other than that, I think that's about it, really. I don't think there's much else to explain, really. I don't think there's much else I can sort of talk to you about. If you have any questions or anything you think I've missed out or anything you want going over again, then just give us a shout. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks very much.